business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch
news on Atlantic Television Network. First, the headlines. Analyst advises FG to engage communities in pipeline surveillance. President Tinubu to address Nigerians on Wednesday, Democracy Day. FG declares Wednesday
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
We're glad to have you back. A very good evening to you, and thank you for joining us on the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Angel, and we'll come out with the news. And now the details. Analyst has advised the federal government to engage community leaders in pipeline surveillance to support government tackle crude oil theft. Speaking on Atlantic Television Blowout, socio-political analyst Magnus Edo said, by engaging well-meaning community heads in surveillance against illegal crude refining will bring timely and intelligent information for immediate response by authorities against pipeline thieves.
Engaging the communities, owners of the land into the surveillance job, because you cannot be coming to my community to do a kind of surveillance job and I'm not involved directly, not when there is problem. You know, the first target are always traditional institutions. The first target, if there is problem, you will see they will call the chiefs. But when there is money, they will not call anybody. They will not call the chiefs. They will not. They should do more work that.
Meanwhile, Magnus Edo has tasked the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps to apply best global practices and professionalism to stem the tide and menace in the society.
Friendly with community leaders, this will save them from all these ones they are just showing us. And again, more of destroying the camp is another thing that needs international best practices, because look at the amount of crude already stolen. Okay, the means of destroying it, they are also going to burn it. If they burn it, they are also destroying what we have prevented. The land will be destroyed, the environment will be polluted more. So these are things that they need experts.
This is coming after the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps arrested 9 suspects for engaging in illegal oil activities in a forest boundary between Rivers and Abia. Niger Delta Development Commission says it is targeting the completion of legacy projects in the region by the end of the year. after presenting a 1.9 trillion naira budget to the Senate Committee on the NDDC. According to a statement signed by its Director of Corporate Affairs, Pius, the NDDC Managing Director, Dr. Samuel Obuku, discloses while presenting the budget to the Senate Committee, chaired by Senator Asuku Ekpeyong, said the proposal was a product of a participatory process involving major stakeholders in the Niger Delta region. According to Obuku, the revenue estimates include an opening balance of 12 billion naira, unpaid arrears and recoveries from federal government agencies of 170 billion naira. Obuku commended the 10th National Assembly's commitment to stop the cycle of delayed annual budget. Other than that, the Commission had initiated the Holistic Opportunities for Program and Engagement Project Hope to properly train and empower the youth and artisans of the Niger Delta region. He also said the Commission had awarded foreign scholarships to 750 individuals between 2023 and 2024 and provided educational grants to 84 individuals. 4 persons have been confirmed dead as a speeding Toyota Sienna left its lane and collided head-on with a tricycle at Fambwe 2 on the Yenegua or Poroma road in Bayelsa State. An eyewitness account said a Toyota Sienna was driving in the direction of Oporoma while the tricycle was returning to Yenegua when the crash occurred. The victims comprised the driver of the tricycle and the passengers, while none of the occupants of the Sienna sustained any injuries. Other than that, heavy rainfall and poor visibility have also contributed to the accident on a bend on the road, a scene of several previous accidents. Well, this is coming after the Bayelsa State government banned the operations of tricycle beyond 7 p.m. But it is usual for some tricycles to operate beyond the ban, especially outside the state capital, Yenegua. When contacted on the development, the Bayelsa Police Command Police Public Relations Officer, Musa Mohammed, said he was not aware of the incident. Human rights activist Jude Ojugo Onochie has advised Delta State Governor Sharif Oboroweri for buying sports utility vehicles allegedly worth 1 billion naira for 12 federal lawmakers representing Delta State in the National Assembly. A statement by Ojugo Onochie said buying cars for members of the National Assembly is wrong and a waste of Delta State resources. Other than that, each vehicle is not less than 100 million naira. This is coming after wave representing Ughelli North, Ughelli South Oud Federal Constituency in the House of Reps praised Oboroweri for upholding the tradition of assisting members of the National Assembly from our state with operational vehicles. But the activist Ojugo Onochie described the governor's action as insensitive, saying that the people of Delta State are suffering while over 1 billion naira used to buy SUV for members of the National Assembly can be channeled to job creation for the people. Abia State government has frowned at a statement by the state chapter of the Nigeria Labour Congress directing civil and public servants and ministries as well as departments and agencies and 17 local government areas for participating in the online upload of their credentials. The Commissioner for Information and Culture, OK Kano, frowned at the NLC directive at Government House, Umuahia, while briefing journalists on the outcome of this week's Executive Council meeting, presided over by Governor Alex Otte. The NLC had, through its state chairman, Ogbonnaya Okoro, directed all civil and public servants in the MDAs and local government areas not to upload their credentials online as directed by the Abia State Head of Service, Ngozi Obioma, while the NLC alleged that the online credentials upload was designed to subject civil servants in the state to another round of difficulties, describing it as another form of verification. But Kano explained that the issue of upload of requisite credentials was necessitated by the government's discovery of lack of requisite credentials on the files of some civil servants and public servants as well, adding that the credentials upload is not another verification exercise as being alleged by the NLC. He accused NLC and the state of not being fair to the government commitment to improving the welfare of Abia workers and urged the organized labor not to destroy the good relationship between the workers and Abia state government. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has approved the suspension of the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Ngozi Okoronkwo. A statement on Tuesday by the Commissioner for Information and Culture in the state, Prince Okekano, said the suspension is to allow for the investigation of allegations of gross misconduct levied against the Commissioner. He said the governor's action is in line with his zero-tolerance policy for misconduct of any kind and strong adherence to the twin principles of transparency and accountability in governance to ensure that actions of appointees must at all times advance the good and well-being of Abians. Indigenous people of Biafra has denied claims that the Nigerian army attacked the Eastern Security Network camp in the Arachuku area of Abia State. IPOB also denied that the Nigerian military invaded the ESN camp at Afipo Forest was an indication of how clueless they are. A statement by IPOB's spokesman, Ima Powerful, said the claim is part of the Nigerian Army's blackmail and propaganda against IPOB that should be trashed, and alleged that the Nigerian government may have set up and sponsored other Biafra agitators to use their violent activities to blackmail IPOB ESN movement. The statement also said the notorious Nigerian army labeled the boldly captioned Liberation Army Valley Camp as ESN camp just to blackmail IPOB for standing resolute in the self-determination struggle. Suspected gunmen have shot 2 police officers at the security checkpoint on the Owerri-Okigwe Road in Imo State. The assailant also shot another person said to be a civilian inside the house, while residents camped out for safety and shop owners closed their shops out of fear. An eyewitness who confirmed the incident said it happened at about 25 minutes past 6 in the morning at Akabo in the Kedru Council area of the state. Meanwhile, the State Police Public Relations Officer Henry Okoye is yet to comment on the incident. 2 yet to be identified female passengers have lost their lives, while 5 others were injured in a road crash at Obeneti Akuzu along the Onitsha and Teje Oka Expressway in Anambra State. Eyewitnesses say the crash occurred on Tuesday and involved a driver of a Mack tanker and another driver of a commercial Toyota Diana, and attributed the crash to a brake failure. Adding that the Mack tanker failed to brake and crashed into the commercial vehicle. Confirming the incident, the AG Sector Public Education Officer of the Federal Safety Corps, Margaret Onabe, said 3 male and 4 female adults were involved in the crash, while Onabe, who spoke on behalf of the sector commander, Ko Adeoye, confirmed that 2 female adults were killed and their corpses have been deposited at the morgue. She said the sector commander sympathized with the families of the dead victims and wished the injured victims a quick recovery. Indigenes of Nkomoro Autonomous Community in Iza, North Local Government Area of the Ebonyi State are protesting against the forceful imposition of Jacob Nwankpa as monarch-elect of the community. The community is in one accord defied the Tuesday morning heavy downpour to protest with placards of various inscription. Nkomoro community have never benefited from Jacob Nwankpa. Nkomoro traditional stool is not for sale. Jacob Nwankpa is not a choice among others. Briefing journalists after the protest, Nkomoro Youth Assembly National President Peter Abom and Acting Town Union President Obiora Ezaka said the acclaimed monarch-elect was not elected by the people, hence would not rule them as their traditional ruler. However, some of the aspirants, Joseph Ogai, a retired police officer, and Prophet Igwe Kletters, who spoke, explained that all contestants are of Orio's kindred and appealed to Ebonyi state government to visit the community and conduct free and fair election for the interests of the state and community. About 5 persons are feared dead and 6 others hospitalized from the outbreak of severe gastroenteritis in communities around Etiosa, Lagos Island, Ikorodu, and Koshofe local government areas of Lagos State. The Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Akin Abayomi, who discloses while reacting to the state surveillance report, said the state government has issued a call for heightened vigilance and the adoption of precautionary measures to prevent the spread of a potential cholera outbreak in the state. He said, sadly, 5 deaths have been recorded, mainly from patients presenting late with extreme dehydration. Other than that, following recent rains, Lagos State has seen a notable increase in cases of severe vomiting and water stools, including urban slums and crowded areas with poor sanitation are particularly at risk. Abayomi also said cholera is a highly contagious disease that causes severe diarrhea and can be life-threatening. Other than that, it poses a significant health burden in areas with poor water treatment and sanitation and could impact Lagos State. Vice President Kashim Shettima is expected to grace the 2024 Ojude Oba Festival as a special guest of honor of the celebration. Governor Dakpo Abiodun, alongside the Minister of Culture, Arts and the Creative Economy, Hanato Musawa, are also expected to join thousands of Ijebu indigenes from home and abroad to celebrate this year's Ojude Oba Festival. This was made known by the Chairman Planning Committee of the celebration, Chief Olu Okuboyejo, on Tuesday in a press conference held at the Jales Palace, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. Okuboyejo said the vice president at the festival will be ranked in the league of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, President Bola Tinubu, former Senate President David Mark, and other eminent Nigerians. Other than that, over 100 female and male age grade groups would pay homage to the Awu, Jale, and paramount rulers Ijebu Land, Oba Sikiru Adetona. The celebration with the theme Ojude Oba, Unity and Harmony are gifts is slated for Tuesday, June 18, 2024, 2 days after the Eid al-Kabir, while the Chairman Planning Committee said the theme is apt and relevant to the intent and purpose of the modern-day Ojude Oba, proudly reinvented, re-engineered and internationalized by the Orisa Ijebu Kabiesi Oba Adedona. Analysts has advised the management of Nasarawa State University to probe the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) over the invasion of their hostels and damage of their properties, and describe the action as unprofessional in the fight against crime in the country. Speaking on Atlantic Television Society Watch, a public affairs analyst, Emmanuel Weke cautioned the EFCC for not adhering to professionalism in their practice and, as such, are liable to pay for damages if found culpable.
Yeah, is that the university should move immediately to file a suit against EFCC and then the officials involved, because it's the filing.
Speaking further, Emmanuel Weke expressed dissatisfaction over the constitutional operations and modus operandi of the EFCC in the country.
No, because if you have, if you are doing investigation, you should be as discreet as possible. If you see that you find in a neighborhood that so and so persons are involved in fraudulent activity, you notify the landlord or whoever that is in charge of that facility that you have so and so tenant, right? So there are processes. You will find that because you are suspecting somebody, your suspicion might not be right.
This is coming after the operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) allegedly broke into the Off-campus lodges of Nasarawa State University, Kefi students at Angwa Karimi area, and allegedly arrested over 3 yet to be identified residents. 2 students of the Federal Polytechnic Bida, Niger State, have been found dead in a room at the FMC quarters in Bida town within the Bida local government area of the state. The lifeless bodies of the students, simply identified as Bam and a female student, Aisha, were reportedly discovered on Sunday morning when they could not be seen after daybreak, and alleged that the disease may have consumed poisonous food leading to their death. The Niger State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Wasiu Abiodun, who confirmed the incident, said it was discovered that the bodies were lying on the floor in the sitting room. Ram sellers in Zamfara State have cried out that they are facing low patronage ahead of the Salah festivities. According to one of the ram sellers, Alaji Isha Komande, the business is no longer booming as usual, while another ram seller, Malam Lawali Ibrahim in Goso, the state capital, said the rate at which business is moving is very discouraging. He also said many people now are thinking of how to put food on the table for the families, while lamenting that many people cannot even provide a square meal a day. According to another ram seller, Mohammed Babangida, the situation has become as worrisome as the cost of living has gone beyond the reach of most Nigerians. He blamed both the government for making people's lives miserable due to high cost of living. President Bola Tinubu has strongly condemned the recent killings of citizens in Dosinma and Kankara local government areas of Katsina State. The police command in a statement confirmed the killing of about 20 persons, including 4 police officers and 2 operatives of the state-owned Community Watch Corps by suspected bandits. The statement issued by the Public Relations Officer of the command, ASP Abubakar Sadiq Aliyu, said the attacks occurred at Gaidan Tofa and Danakwambo villages in the Kankara local government area of the state. In response to the attack, in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, Tinubu described the latest attacks as grisly and sinister and promised that his administration would do more to secure citizens and completely degrade terrorists and other harbingers of death and sorrow in any part of the country. Jigawa State Governor Malam Umar Namadi has charged newly appointed High Court judges and a Sharia Court of Appeal Qadi to serve with diligence and fear of Allah. Namadi gave the charge on Monday after the swearing-in of the new judges. The High Court judges are Barrister Nilifa Abdullahi Gambo and Barrister Muhammad El Usman, while Malam Mukta Shaibu Adamu is a newly appointed Qadi. Speaking after the swearing-in ceremony, Namadi said all the appointments were based on merit and advised the new appointees to make the state proud as they excelled during the selection interview. He said also that the National Judicial Council had confirmed that Jigawa State judge selection process was the best in the country, while the state government decided to remain neutral during the selection process in order to ensure a credible selection of the best candidates. He stressed confidence in the judge's ability to dispense justice fairly and impartially, thereby contributing to the overall development and stability of the state. Plateau State government, in its effort to resettle communities displaced by crisis across the state, has commenced cultivation of 6,000 acres of land for the upcoming farming season. It also said it will provide seeds to farmers across the state in order to improve agricultural yield and reduce hunger to the barest minimum. Commissioner of Agriculture Samson Bugama, who disclosed this while flagging off the cultivation of 6,000 hectares of land, particularly for displaced communities in the state, held in Mangu local government area, said the intervention, tagged Mechanization Service Provision Intervention, was targeted at communities affected by unrest and cluster groups across the state. He said Governor Caleb Fuanga is bent on ensuring that the people return back to their livelihoods. Suspected Boko Haram terrorists have kidnapped passengers along the Maiduguri-Kano highway. The eyewitness said the insurgents struck between Garin Koturu and Manara village near Auno along the Matru highway at about 5:50 p.m. on Monday and blocked the matter. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after the short break. Stay tuned.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now, the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu will address Nigerians in a nationwide broadcast as part of the Democracy Day celebration. A statement issued by Ajuri Ngalale, special advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, said Tinubu will address Nigerians at 7 a.m. on Wednesday, June 12, 2024. According to him, television, radio, and other electronic media outlets are enjoined to plug into the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria for the broadcasts. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has called for collective action by all for the eradication of female genital mutilation in Nigeria by the year 2030. Mrs. Tinubu, who disclosed this in Abuja at the 2024 Annual Global Technical Consultation of the UN Population Fund and UNICEF Joint Program on the Elimination of Female Genital Mutilation in Nigeria. She said the female genital mutilation in Nigeria, FGM, was recognized internationally as a human rights violation against girls and women because it involved altering or injuring the female genitalia for non-medical reasons. Other than that, it is crucial to intensify advocacy efforts to eliminate these harmful practices. While since 2008, the UN Population Fund and UNICEF have been leading the largest global program on eliminating female genital mutilation globally. She recommended education enhancement and awareness through media campaigns, health outreaches, and community engagement to eliminate ignorance about harmful practices, stressing that there was need to empower survivors by providing comprehensive medical, legal, and psychological services to help them regain their dignity. Also speaking, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, who was represented by Uju Rochas, Anwula, Senior Advisor on Public Health, Office of the VP, said that it was important for the menace to be addressed from the grassroots levels. Federal government has declared Wednesday, June 12 as public holiday to commemorate this year's Democracy Day. The Minister of Interior, Olubumi Tunjojo, in a statement by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Aishatu Ndayako, congratulated Nigerians on the celebration. He urged Nigerians to remain steadfast on the tenets of democratic governance, adding that President Bola Tinubu is committed to positive reforms to revive the nation's economy and enhance security. The minister also called on Nigerians and friends of Nigeria to appreciate the progress that has been made and look forward for a better future for Nigeria's democracy. Senate has passed the 2024 supplementary bill of 98.5 billion naira for the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The budget approval followed the consideration of a report by the Committee on FCT. Correspondent Rotimi Adewumi reports.
The report was laid and presented by Senator Osita Ongu. In his presentation, Senator Ongu, who justified the 2024 FCT supplementary bill, said the money is needed to develop certain infrastructure in the federal capital. Recall that the Senate stepped down the bill for lack of necessary details to proceed with the debate last week.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration proposed a sum of 98,500 million only for the 2024 FCT statutory supplementary appropriation. 2.2. The proposed sum is to augment the following priority areas of the FCT 2024 statutory appropriation capital expenditure as detailed below. The augmentation proposal is as contained in the document. In view of the aforementioned, the committee has recommended the sum of 98,500 million only as the FCT statutory supplementary budget for 2024. In considering this budget as time was of essence, the committee has worked harmoniously with the House of Representatives to present one version of the report for consideration by the Senate.
Before the consideration of the report, Senator representing Federal Capital Territory, Senator Yuritike Gibe, had raised a point of order to officially lay complaint for her exclusion from the activities of the Committee on FCT, of which she is a member. A point of order was noted by President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio.
I would like to draw the attention of the Senate to the fact that I am the highest elected office in the Federal Capital Territory, where 4 million people live. I also want to call to the attention of the Senate that though I am in the Committee of the Federal Capital Territory, whenever matters, critical matters like budget or anything to do with the FCT is being discussed, I am never told. All I see is that it has been brought to the Senate.
The committee report, which was approved by the Committee of Supply without opposition from lawmakers, subsequently passed for a third reading when it was put to a voice vote by the President of the Senate.
A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territories Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration's account, the total sum of 98,500 million for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year ending on 31st day of December 2024. Third reading taken and passed.
The Niger Delta Development Commission budget of 1.911 trillion naira as its 2024 aggregate expenditure. The passage of the budget followed the presentation of the report of the Senate Committee on NDDC headed by Senator Asuku Ekpeyong. The NDDC budget is expected to be funded through contributions from oil companies, proceeds accruing to the Ecological Fund, and the federal government contribution. According to the proposal, the agency proposed to borrow 1 trillion naira as federal government will contribute 324.8 billion naira, the Ecological Fund 25 billion naira, while oil companies' contributions will contribute 375 billion naira.
Committee recommended as follows: that the revenue profile for the Commission for the year 2024 is as follows. Revenue brought forward 12 billion. Federal government contribution 324,844,833,046 naira. Federal government contribution in essence unpaid arrears by federal government and recoveries by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission 170 billion. All companies' contribution and Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited and others 375 billion. Ecological funds 25 billion. Borrowings 1 trillion. Other internally realized income 5 billion. Total revenue 1 trillion 911 billion 844 million 833,046 naira. Prayers that the Senate do consider and approve the year 2024 budget proposal for the Niger Delta Development Commission in the sum of 1 trillion.
Supo Ekpeyong, Chairman, Senate Committee on NDDC, meanwhile, Senator Adamu Aliero queried the effort of NDDC to borrow 1 trillion naira without due process. The lawmakers, however, decried the poor infrastructure development in the Niger Delta region, which he said does not represent the huge funds invested in the areas over the years. In their contribution, Senator Adams Oshomole and his Niger Delta counterpart Seriki Dixon said things have changed in the NDDC and explained that the NDDC could write to the Senate for borrowing after the budget has been passed into law, urging lawmakers not to judge the NDDC by its dirty past.
NDDC is a child of necessity. We must do all we can to ensure that the money that is given to NDDC is used judiciously and prudently. And if we do so, it will change the fortune of that area. I know we have 9 states, but if this money is used annually, we do approve close to about 2 trillion naira to NDDC. That is more than a budget of 2 states. But, Mr. President, I'm afraid to say that we have not seen much progress, and a lot of people are saying so. And I believe the committee on NDDC has to do their job by regularly doing oversight so that they will ensure that whatever money is approved by the National Assembly is properly utilized.
We write as necessary to ask the Senate to approve a borrowing plan, not the other way around. You don't borrow without stating the purpose. So when we have passed the bill, which says that part of the money will be borrowed, in my view and from my limited experiences I've been here, we can, when the President so requests, consider the request to borrow 1 billion or 1 trillion naira. I don't see fundamental contradiction.
After the consideration report by the Committee of Supply, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, called for a vote and the budget was passed into law. Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Idris Wase, has called on the National Assembly to urgently intervene in the non-swearing-in of some new members-elect of the Plateau State House of Assembly. He said in 2023, the Court of Appeal hearing appeals arising from judgments of the Plateau State Election Tribunal made decisions which resulted in the nullification of certificate of return of 16 sitting members of the State House of Assembly. while the appellate court also ordered the issuance of certificate of return to the new members by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), and relying on Section 72(1) of the Electoral Act of 2022, INEC issued the certificate of return to the new members in compliance with the order of the appeal courts. Wasa said the members-elect of the State Assembly had met all the requirements of the law as contained in Section 94(1) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 and Constitution, and Section 72(1) of the Electoral Act 2022. A statement he signed and issued on Tuesday, the Deputy Speaker raised concerns that the remaining members-elect of the State Assembly are compelled to submit letters of resignation with accompanying court affidavit by the Speaker as a condition for swearing in. Other than that, such an action amounts to a mockery of democracy at a period when Nigeria is celebrating 25 years of unbroken democracy. Chief Judge of the Federal High Court of Nigeria, Justice John Tosho, says the 2024 annual vacation and roster for vacation judges of the trial court in the country. Justice Soho, in a statement on Tuesday in Abuja through the Federal High Court, Assistant Director Information and ICT Catherine Christopher, said the annual 2024 vacation is slated to commence Tuesday, July 23, 2024, and bailed to come to an end on Friday, September 13, 2024. Other than that, the decision is by the provisions of Order 46, Rule 4D of the Federal High Court's Civil Procedure Rules 2019. Justice also said that vacation is necessary for the judges to enjoy their well-deserved rest and to prepare for the tasks and activities of the new legal year, stressing that the litigating public is at liberty to approach functional court amongst the three premier divisions, Abuja, Lagos, and Port Harcourt, located nearest to them, with matters of extreme urgency. The statement equally said during the duration of the vacation, Justice Emeka Nwite and Justice Peter Olife will be handling cases with the urgency at the Federal High Court Abuja, while Justice Akintayo Aluko and Justice Isaac Dipel will be available to handle cases in Lagos, and Justice A.T. Mohammed and Justice P.M. Ayuwa will be on the ground to handle litigation matters in Port Harcourt. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ambassador Yusuf Tuga has formally lodged a complaint with the head of civil service of the Federation regarding allegations of sexual harassment levied against the ministry's permanent secretary, Ambassador Ibrahim Lamua. In his letter addressed to the head of service, Tuga expresses concern over the serious nature of the allegations levied against the permanent secretary by Simi Shola Ajayi and emphasized the importance of addressing the matter urgently and thoroughly. The spokesperson for the ministry, Ambassador H. Abuode, confirmed the development. Also, when contacted, the Special Assistant on Media and Communications to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Al-Qasim Abdul Qadir, said no comment on the matter is being looked into by the relevant authorities, while Ajayi had a petition dated May 29, 2024, addressed to Tuga, accused the permanent secretary of serious sexual harassment. Ajayi, through her lawyer Femi Falana, sent a call for a thorough investigation into the actions of Ambassador Lamua, and also narrated multiple instances of harassment allegedly by Lamua, which have created an unsafe and uncomfortable working environment. Leader of the Nri Evangelical Spiritual Church, Primate Elijah Ayodele, has expressed fear that a regional government will break Nigeria's unity. Primate Ayodele said a regional system of government will give governors too much power and will not turn out well for the country. A statement by his media aide, Oluwatosin Osho, Ayodele said the development will weaken the federal government and also paralyze local government, but would place too much power in the hands of regional leaders who are governors. Reacting, Primate Ayodele said a government of national unity is the best for Nigeria. Other than that, Nigeria needs a government of coalition and not a system of political parties. This is coming amid reports that a bill proposing a shift to a regional governance structure in Nigeria will be submitted to President Bola Tinubu next week, and the development follows the House of Reps' denial of the draft bill that recently circulated online. The bill's introduction states that Nigeria has been under the governance of Decree 2024 of 1999 imposed by a military government without the people's consent, and notes that the current constitution is not derived from the Nigerian people's consensus, and that there is a call for a constitution based on a federal and a regional system. High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja has received the approval of former President Muhammadu Buhari for the redesign of Nigeria's currency tendered and admitted as exhibit before the court. The approval dated October 6, 2022 from the State House and personally signed by the former president was conveyed to the Central Bank of Nigeria under Godwin Emefiele as governor to proceed with the project of redesigning and printing of the currency. The Chief of Staff to President Buhari was said to have transmitted the written presidential approval to the CBN, while also tendered and admitted as exhibit as samples of the redesigned currency as approved by Buhari. And the documents were tendered by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, through its witness and former Director of Currency Operations at the Central Bank of Nigeria, Ahmed Bello Umar. The witness was led to evidence by EFCC's lead counsel Rotimi Oyedepo, a senior advocate of Nigeria's son, while Umaru, who claimed to have authored some memos in relation to the project, revealed that Emefiele partly departed from the approval of the former president. Among others, the witness said that while the portraits in the samples endorsed by Buhari were on the right side, those printed have the portraits on the left side, while the former Director of Currency Operations at the CBN also claimed that the numbering styles for the currency adopted by the Emefiele were different from the modes adopted by the CBN under Emefiele. In view of the 2.7 billion naira contract fraud trial of the immediate past Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, former Director of Procurement and the Federal Ministry of Aviation, Azubike Okori, has testified against him. Sirika is standing trial alongside his daughter Fatima, son-in-law Jalal Hama, and their company Al Burak Investment Limited, while the defendants are being prosecuted on 6 counts bordering on contract fraud by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The EFCC alleged that, as minister, Sirika abuses office to confer undue advantage on his daughter, son-in-law and company by allegedly awarding contracts to them. Okori said he also served as a chairman of the Project Implementation Committee, which was responsible for the monitoring and evaluation of projects, and identified Al Burak Investment Limited as one of the contractors which got jobs from the Aviation Ministry. He, however, told the court that when his committee visited Katsina for project monitoring and implementation, Al-Burak contractors and other contractors were not on the ground. Other than that, before a contract was awarded, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria would have secured land with a certificate of occupancy. Now, moving on now, former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan has said Nigeria, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, must do everything within its powers to address factors fueling do-or-die politics in the country. Jonathan, who disclosed this on Tuesday at a public lecture marking Nigeria's celebration of 25 years of uninterrupted democratic governance, held at the State House Conference Center in Abuja, said the political elite and the masses should phase out the region, religion and other factors propelling politics of bitterness and rancor. He urged He urged President Tinubu to encourage a democracy where all citizens are given free will to express themselves without friction, and argued that the political class and elite must lead by example and their lifestyle must reflect that we are elected to the position by the electorate. He also stressed on the need to ensure that the dividends of democracy are felt by all Nigerians regardless of economic status or social class. Other than that, a situation where children of political office holders are seen spraying dollars at parties is not the democracy Nigerians want to witness. He advocated for a model of democratic parties that would be more inclusive and reinforce social cohesion. Now moving on to the business. News analyst has tasked the Nigerian Labour Congress on professionalism and his approach with the government on the demand for a new minimum wage. Speaking on Atlantic Television Society Watch, Emmanuel Weke again stressed on the need for NLC to be steadfast with the government as they hold the support and mandate of the Nigerian populace, as well as considering the looming economic hardship.
If, like the people you are presenting your matter to, leaves a lot to be desired. Now, if you are presenting money, amount to pay to be paid you, to your employer, in this case government, this is a very different employer because these are people who we have trusted to hold our money on our behalf, to manage our resources. Do you understand? So why you accept our employer, you should also know that you have a portion of our trust, like you manage our resources well. Okay. Now, having a
Company Limited has denied reports that it inflicted the subsidy on premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, by 3.3 trillion naira during the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. It argued that its subsidy claims were verifiable, stressing that all relevant records on subsidy had been sent to the agencies in charge. A statement issued by its spokesperson, Olufemi, also said that it was not aware of any planned audit of his account. While the NMPC noted with dismay a report in a section of the media alleging that it inflicted subsidy claims by 3.3 trillion naira and wishes to state that NMPC conducts its businesses with accountability and transparently in keeping with international best practices and has at no time inflicted its subsidy claims with the federal government. NMPC said it would resist any attempt to drag the company into the apparent politics of fuel subsidy as it currently operates on a commercial basis and the express provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act. Other than that, it is on record that in line with its transparency, accountability and performance excellence mantra, NMPC has on several occasions independently invited external auditors to review its books. The federal government has raised the alarm over the renewed smuggling of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, following the massive hike in the pump price of the commodity in neighboring countries. It said the average price of petrol in Nigeria was about 701 litre per litre. The average cost of the products in neighboring countries was 1,787 naira per litre, a development that heightened PMS smuggling out of Nigeria in the past 2 weeks. The Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, who discloses at a press conference in Yola, said the Nigeria Customs Service had to join forces with the Office of the National Security Advisor to tackle the menace. Adeniyi said credible intelligence on activities around border areas corroborated the suspicions. Nigeria Shippers Council has lauded the West Africa container terminal for its investment in automation. A statement by the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of NSC, Akota Ukeyima, gave the commendation during his recent visit to the terminal in One, Port Harcourt, River State. He described the terminal as one of the most modern terminals in Nigeria, while also stating that the level of automation in the terminal was very high and was the only way of encouraging the ease of doing business. He expressed satisfaction over the WAG's container freight station, which promotes the exportation of non-oil products and aids the consolidation of export cargoes, stuffing and non-stuffing of import and export containers. Other than that, the major concern of the government was to lower the cost of export and import business so that it would not impact more on the consumer and the exporter, but rather reduce the cost impact positively on the economy. According to Ukeyima, the federal government is engaging in implementing rail connectivity to minimize the cost of haulage, transportation for investors, and assure the terminal of regular support and collaboration. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabo says Nigeria enjoys cheaper electricity tariffs in sub-Saharan Africa. Adelabo, who disclosed this in Abuja at a public hearing organized by the House of Reps Joint Committee on Power, National Planning and Delegated Legislation, said the introduction of Band A with a higher tariff reduced electricity subsidies to 1 trillion naira from about 3 trillion naira. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, said Nigeria enjoys cheaper electricity tariff in sub-Saharan Africa. You're still watching the Atlantic Television Network News. Up next is International Tidbits. ECOWAS Court of Justice sitting in Abuja has declined a request by former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired, to enforce an October 4, 2016 judgment against the federal government. And the judgment delivered by the judge rapporteur Justice Sengu Mohammed Koroma, the ECOWAS court ruled that it lacked jurisdiction to entertain the application and dismissed the same without cost. This is coming after Dasuki had alleged that he obtained a judgment from the court on October 4, 2016, declaring his arrest and detention unlawful and a violation of his right under the CHPR and ICCPR. Other than that, the court ordered the release of his seizure properties and payment of 50 million naira in damages. He claimed that the federal government's failure to comply with the judgment of the ECOWAS court led him to seek enforcement, while the federal government denied the allegations and asserted that Dasuki's properties were involved in ongoing criminal proceedings in Nigeria, which the applicants did not mention. The federal government argued that it had fulfilled its obligations and that the court chief registrar had already issued a right of execution, making Dasuki's relief prayed for unnecessary, while in its judgment, the ECOWAS court noted that, having thoroughly assessed the claims and constitutive text of the courts, it lacked the competence to adjudicate the present claim. United Nations Security Council has voted to support a U.S. resolution backing a ceasefire plan for the war in Gaza. The proposal set out conditions for a full and complete ceasefire, the release of hostages held by Hamas, the return of dead hostages remains, an exchange of Palestinian prisoners. 14 of the 15 Security Council members voted in favor of the U.S. drafted resolution, while the resolution states that Israel has accepted the ceasefire proposal and urges Hamas to agree to it too. It means the Security Council joins a number of governments as well as the G7 group of the world's richest nations in backing the three-part plan that was unveiled by President Joe Biden and described it then as an Israeli ceasefire proposal. The proposal submitted by Israel to the U.S. and fellow mediators, Qatar and Egypt, has not been made public, and it is unclear whether it varies from what the president presented. While the proposal was agreed to by Israel's three-man war cabinet and has not been divulged to the wider government, some far-right ministers have already made clear they oppose it. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has not said directly whether he supports the plan as laid out by President Biden. And now we are moving on to the exciting world of sports. Minister of Sports Development John Eno has beaconed the Nigeria Football Federation and demanded a detailed technical report on the Super Eagles following their last two disappointing performances during the 2026 World Cup qualifying series in the June window. The Super Eagles managed to secure only 1 point from a possible 6 following a 1-1 draw against South Africa at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo and losing 2-1 to Benin Republic in Abidjan in their third and fourth games of Group C. The results leave the Eagles with a total of just 3 points from a possible 12 in their request to qualify for the 2026 World Cup, which will be jointly hosted by USA, Canada, and Mexico. A statement shared by the Minister's Office expressed dissatisfaction with the outcome, especially considering the substantial support the NFF had received from President Bola Tinubu's administration and the positive working relationship between the ministry and the federation. Senator Eno also said Nigeria football fans demand and deserve answers and accountability from the NFF. The Super Eagles have vowed to bounce back from their 2-1 defeat to Benin Republic in the 2026 World Cup qualifier. Finidi Judgment took lead in Abidjan but conceded twice before halftime. The players and their coach have flown back to the countries after the loss. Next is entertainment news. Nigeria disc jockey Florence Otedola, popularly known as DJ Kopi, has urged their fans to always celebrate their achievements. Kopi, who is known for flaunting her achievements on social media, said celebrating one's achievements builds confidence and motivation. The music star, who recently revealed that she plans going back to school for her 4th degree, stated that this on X handle on Tuesday. Nigeria disc jockey Florence Otedola, popularly known as GD Kopi, has urged her fans always celebrate their achievements. And Kopi, who is also known for flaunting achievement on social media, said celebrating with achievement builds confidence and motivation. Like we said before, the music star, who recently revealed that she plans going back to school for her 4th degree, stated this on X on Tuesday. Canadian singer Celine Dion says she hid her struggle with a stiff person syndrome for 17 years before revealing it to the public. Dion revealed that she was secretly battling the illness while managing her late husband, Ren Angelis' cancer battle and raising their children. The 56-year-old singer, who first revealed her diagnosis in 2022, confessed that she has been experiencing symptoms way back in 2008. Celine Dion recently stated that her stiff person syndrome feels like she's been strangled. She also said she often suffers from cramps and even had broken some ribs. And that's it on the news this evening. Tonight, before we go, let's take a quick look at the major stories, at the major headlines. Analysts advise FG to engage communities in pipeline surveillance. President Tinubu to address Nigerians on Wednesday, Democracy Day. FG declares Wednesday public holiday, Democracy Day. Minister says Nigerians enjoy cheapest electricity tariff in Africa. UN Security Council support U.S.-Israeli Gaza ceasefire plan. Sports Minister beacons on NFF over Eagle Sport display. DJ Kopi advises fans on celebration of achievement. And that's it on this night news. I am Angie. Welcome, thanking you so very much for watching. You can please join us on our social media platforms. We are on Twitter at Atlantic TV Net. We're also on Facebook and on YouTube at Atlantic Television Network. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. And from me is good night.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all